Okay, hey guys. Today's class I decided to do a variation on the flow that I normally do in the mornings. Obviously you can do this any time of the day, but I find it really energizing and uplifting to start your day off. So we'll start with a bunch of sun salutations, which is going to be a bit repetitive, but that's kind of nice sometimes to repeat things and to get in more of a meditative headspace in yoga rather than always trying to follow along and understand the sequence. So hopefully you'll get a bit of that, and then we'll do some more grounding and centering grounding and centering activities after that. So yeah, we'll go ahead and start on our mats, just seated on the back on our shins. So shins down, and you can bring your seat right on top of your heels. Obviously, if this is uncomfortable, just do whatever is comfortable. We're just sitting here and finding our breath for a few moments. Palms resting on your thighs and just becoming aware of your breath. Not changing it, just noticing the sensation on your nostrils. The expansion of your lungs. The rising and falling of your shoulders. And trying to bring a nice tall seat, so elevating your shoulders just over your hips. Bringing a slight engagement to your core, knitting your lower ribs in a little bit. And pulling your shoulders back so that your chest really expands out into the space in front of you. And starting to incorporate a deeper breath here. Thinking about expanding your belly as you breathe all the way into the deepest parts of your lungs. And as you exhale, pulling your belly back in, forcing all of that air back out. You can start to bring a oceanic quality to your breath. I can't actually remember the word for this. There is a word, but you do it by slightly constricting your throat. And it's like if you were to open your mouth and fog up the mirror in front of you. It's that kind of sensation. But in keeping that constricted throat on your inhales and your exhales. I'll remember the word for this eventually. But it can be a really meditative way to keep following your breath, is to keep that oceanic sound. And bring your attention back to that sound when you start to lose your focus. Inhaling your arms out and overhead, keeping your eyes closed, palms to touch overhead. And exhaling fully open mouth, bringing your hands to your chest. Sealing your intention today. I challenge each and every one of you to bring your intention to your breath today. Working through sun salutations, we'll find that breath and movement are really linked. And you'll find it a lot more energizing if you start to incorporate the breath with each movement. I'll do my best to describe that while we're doing it. Interlacing your fingertips. Start to push your palms out to the space in front of you as you round your back, tucking your chin into your chest. And inhaling your arms up overhead, arching your spine. pulling your chest through. And then rounding again, bringing your hands out in front of you. Inhaling, pulling your arms back up above. And exhaling, rounding. Inhaling, pulling your arms up, chest pulls through. Exhaling, releasing your arms into cactus. Pulling your elbows down towards your hips. Pulling your chest through and up. And then releasing your hands to the space behind your toes. And just lightly pressing into your shins and pushing your hips up and forwards. Just lifting your seat a little bit off of your heels. Pulling your chest up to the sky. Your ribs up. And just expanding here through your chest. Exhaling, releasing your tush back to your heels. And then just getting into our side body a bit. Putting your left arm out to the side and right arm up and overhead. Leaning towards the left, maybe putting a little bit of weight into your left fingertips. And releasing your right arm to the right side. Left arm overhead, switching sides. Nice deep inhales and exhales through this movement. Switching sides, left hand down to the ground, right arm overhead. And then switching once more. Right arm finds the ground. Coming to center with both arms overhead. And then just bringing your hands down to your chest. Putting your hands out in front of you, finding tabletop position. We'll start to warm up a little bit here, doing some wrist circles. So just rolling your weight back and forwards over your wrists, exploring that space today. You can flip your palms or flip your fingertips to face backwards and roll around in that space as well. Just finding the lines of tension in your body today. Maybe your fingertips go sideways. And then bringing your hands to face back towards the front, just lifting off of your palms, keeping your fingers grounded, lifting your palms up and down, getting into our wrists a little bit today just to warm them up. Up and down, a few more rounds. And then rising off of your fingers so that only your fingertips are on the ground, and then releasing your whole hand back down. So fingertips, lower to whole hand. A few rounds of that, just waking up our wrists and our hands and our fingers here. And then coming back to our heels, pushing our palms together, or our fists together like so, releasing them down to the ground so the tops of your hands are on the ground, and then pulling your forearms towards one another so it looks like this. You should feel a good stretch on the fronts of your wrists, forearms. And then releasing that, walking your hands out in front of you and just finding your downward facing dog. Rolling through this space a little bit. The first downward dog of the day can be really challenging. Might feel really stiff. That's okay, we're gonna work through it. But keeping your knees bent here, there's no need for them to be straight. Scooping your hips up to the sky, tucking your chin a little bit and then pushing out of your palms. Long line from hands to hips. Engaging your lower core just a little bit. Maybe pedaling through your heels, dropping one heel at a time. And then whenever you're ready, rolling forward all the way to a plank position. holding plank for just a moment, and start to roll your weight over your wrists a little bit here. As you roll forwards, think about grounding your fingertips down. And when you come backwards, getting the base of your hand rooted into the floor. And then trying to connect each corner of your hand as you roll circles around your wrists. Becoming aware of the role that your fingertips play in this position. And then releasing your knees to the ground, pulling your hips back, find child's pose. Deep breath in. Big exhale. Looking forward, we're going to pull our chest through our hands into cobra pose. So keeping your chest as low to the ground as you can, pulling forwards, keeping your thighs rooted to the ground, lifting your chest up and pulling it through, finding a nice back bend here. And then tucking your toes, rolling your hips up and back, find downward facing dog. This time as you inhale, rise your right leg to the sky. And exhale, pull it through so that it's right outside of your right hand. Drop your back knee and open up towards the right side. Right arm lifted into an easy twist. Maybe your right arm reaches back. And then reaching your arm back forwards. We'll rise off of our back knee and straighten through both legs, pushing our hips back into this extended pyramid. Bending back into your right knee, pull your left foot outside of your left hand, rising into active squat. And pulling our hands to heart center as we rise. Inhaling, arms overhead, a little back bend at the top, and exhaling, squatting back down, hands to heart center, releasing the hands to the floor, and stepping your left foot back, and then your right foot back, finding downward facing dog. Inhaling, left leg rises. Exhaling, pulling it right outside of your left hand, dropping your right knee and opening up towards the left side. Left arm reaches back behind you. Exhaling, pulling your arm back forwards, lifting off of your back knee and straightening through both legs, extended pyramid. Bending back into left knee, right foot comes out of right hand, active squat. Exhaling, rising hands to heart center. Inhaling, arms up and overhead, little back bend. Exhaling, sinking back into active squat. Dropping the hands to the floor, stepping left foot back and then right foot. Knees drop, shift your hips back to child's pose. Inhaling, pulling your chest through to cobra. Exhaling, tucking the toes and rolling back, downward facing dog. This time inhaling, right leg reaches to the sky and pulling it through outside of your right hand. Left foot steps right outside of left hand, rising to active squat. Exhale, pulling hands to heart center as you stand. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, sinking back, active squat. Inhale, dropping both hands to the mat, step back. And finding a chaturanga here, so maybe a full push-up if you can. Dropping the knees and the forearms as you shift backwards. And then pulling your chest through and up. Maybe cobra, maybe upward facing dog. That's lifting your thighs off the mat. Exhaling, rolling through downward facing dog. Inhaling, left leg to the sky. Exhaling, pulling it through outside of your left hand. Right foot steps forward, active squat. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, active squat. Inhale, hands find the mat. Stepping back to plank, full push-up. On the exhale. On the pause in your breath, drop the knees and the forearms, and as you inhale, pull your chest through to upward facing dog. Exhaling, rolling back over your toes, downward facing dog. Inhaling, right leg lifts. Exhaling, pulling it outside of your right hand, left foot forward, active squat. Inhaling, hands to heart center. Inhaling, arms overhead. Exhaling, active squat. Inhaling, hands to the floor, stepping back. Plank pose to full push-up. Knees, forearms drop. And on your inhale, pull your chest through, upward facing dog. Exhale, rolling back, downward facing dog. Inhaling, rising left foot to the sky, and exhaling, pulling it outside your left hand, right foot forward, active squat. Inhaling, rising. Hands reach up and overhead. And exhale, sinking back down. Inhaling, hands to the mat, stepping back to a full push-up. Knees and forearms drop. And pulling through on the inhale, upward dog. Exhale, rolling back, downward facing dog. Dropping your knees here and shifting your weight back onto your heels to your seated position. Just coming back to your breath, nice deep inhales and exhales. Just slowing down your breath again. And then walking your hands back, forward, out in front of you. Rising into downward facing dog. Taking a moment to re-coordinate here. Find your comfortable downward dog position. Find your breath. And then rise your right leg to the sky. On your exhale, pulling your right leg in between your hands. And rising into a double bent leg lunge, everybody's favorite. Keeping your left knee as close to the ground as you can. 90 degrees in both legs. As close as you can. And then shifting so that your left heel reaches back to the space behind you, trying to straighten through your left leg, but keeping your pelvis neutral. And then bringing hands to chest, lifting your back leg as you roll forwards into a crouching warrior. Bouncing on your right leg, right knee deeply bent. And then inhaling, pushing off of your right leg to straighten through your right leg, warrior 3. Exhaling, bending back into your right knee and extending your left toes back to the mat. Rising up to the space that we were just in, into a crescent lunge. Bringing your hands to the base of your skull behind you. Looking straight up. And then inhaling, bringing your hands out and back behind you. Trying to get a nice C curve in your spine, or as close as you can get to that. Exhaling, releasing your hands back to the mat. As you shift back to downward dog, keep your right leg lifted, 3-legged dog. Bend into your left knee and pull your weight forward, 3-legged, all the way to upward facing dog. Exhaling, rolling back through downward facing dog. No pause on your inhale, rising your left leg to the sky. Exhaling, pulling it through between your hands. Inhaling, rising double bent leg lunge, right knee as close to the ground as you can. Neutral pelvis. Exhaling, pushing your right heel back, trying to straighten through your right leg. Inhaling, shifting forward, crouching warrior, hands to chest, deep bend in the left knee. Exhaling, straightening through the left leg, warrior 3. Inhaling, bending into the left knee Extending your right toes to the space behind you and rising into crescent lunge. Hands find the base of the skull. And then inhaling, hands back to the space behind you. Exhaling, releasing the hands, framing your foot, and then lifting into three-legged dog. Bending into your right knee and pulling your weight forward, three-legged, through to upward facing dog. Exhale, rolling back, downward facing dog. Deep inhale and a deep exhale. One more just like that, inhaling and exhaling. So that's the gist of it. I'll try and give better breath cues for the next rounds. Try and just keep attention to your breath. Notice how it flows with each movement. Inhaling your right leg to the sky. Exhale, pulling it through. Inhale, rising double bent leg lunge. Exhaling, straightening through the back leg. Inhaling, shifting forward, crouching warrior. Exhaling, straightening through the right leg. Inhaling, finding crescent lunge. Arms overhead and exhaling, hands to the base of the skull. Inhaling, reaching back to the space behind you. And exhaling, hands, frame the foot, three-legged dog. On your inhale, bending through the left knee and pulling your body through to upward facing. Exhaling, rolling back, downward facing dog. Inhaling, left leg to the sky. Exhaling, pulling it through. Inhale, rising, double bent leg lunge. Exhaling, straightening through the back leg. Inhale, pulling forward, crouching warrior. Exhaling, straightening through the left leg. Inhaling, bending back, finding crescent lunge, arms overhead. Exhaling, hands to the base of the skull. Inhaling, arms back behind you. Exhaling, hands frame the foot. Three-legged dog. On your inhale, pulling through. Upward facing dog. Exhale, rolling back, downward facing dog. Deep inhale and down dog. And a big exhale. One more inhale. And exhale. Inhaling, right leg to the sky. Exhaling, pulling through. Inhaling, rising, double bent leg lunge. Exhaling, straightening through the back leg. Inhaling, crouching warrior. Exhaling, straightening through the right leg. Inhaling, crescent lunge. Exhaling, hands to your head. Exhaling, you're inhaling, hands behind you. Exhaling, three-legged dog. Inhaling, pulling through, upward facing. Exhaling, rolling back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Exhale, pull it through. Inhale, rising, double bent leg lunge. Exhale, straightening through the back leg. Inhale, coming forward, crouching warrior. Exhaling, warrior three. Inhaling, bending back, crescent lunge. Exhaling, hands to your head. Inhaling, arms back behind you, back bending. Exhaling, hands to the floor, three-legged dog. Inhaling, coming through, upward facing. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Deep inhale and a big exhale. Inhaling here and exhaling. One more round, doing great, keep it up. If you're not following my pace, that's totally fine. Just follow your own breath. Inhaling, right leg to the sky. Exhaling, right foot in between your hands. Inhale, rise, double bent leg lunge. Exhale, straighten through the back leg. Inhale, crouching warrior. Exhale, warrior 3. Inhale, left leg comes back, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands to the base of the skull. Inhale, back bend, arms behind you. Exhale, hands frame the foot, 3-legged dog. Inhale, pulling through, upward facing. And exhale, rolling back, downward facing dog. Inhaling left leg to the sky and exhaling, pulling it through. Rising into double bent leg lunge. Inhaling, straightening through the back leg. Exhaling, crouching warrior. Inhale, pulling forward, warrior 3. Exhale, sweeping back, crescent lunge. Hands find the base of the neck. And inhaling, arms back behind you. Exhaling, hands to the mat, 3-legged dog. Inhale, pull through, upward facing. And exhale, this time find child's pose. Releasing your chin, your forehead to the mat. And taking just a moment to find your breath again. Just slow your heart rate down. To become aware of how you felt about the last 10 minutes there. Maybe it was too fast, maybe it was too slow. Maybe you rocked it. But in the end, it doesn't matter. What matters is how we connect to ourselves. What matters is the awareness that we bring to our practice and to our physical body. And what matters is what we do with that information. If we focus on all of the negative parts of our practice, we'll never want to practice anymore. But if we focus on all the positives, then we'll just only want to practice the things that we're good at. So a lot of yoga is just becoming aware of our strengths and our weaknesses and how we can kind of combine the two to see the full picture. Inhaling, looking forwards, bringing our chest through between our hands and just releasing down onto the ground. Rolling your hips back and forth maybe. And then bringing your fingertips out to about 10 and 2 outside of your mat and a little bit in front of your chest. Head to the floor, forehead to the mat. On your inhale, we're going to rise, pushing into our fingertips and rising our chest up, our head up. Exhaling, rolling back down to the mat. Forehead finds the floor. Inhaling, rolling back up, head comes up last. So really rolling through the spine. Exhaling, rolling back down, head finds the floor. Inhaling, rolling up. This time as you exhale, releasing the right shoulder towards the mat, looking towards the left. Inhaling, rising back up. Exhaling the left shoulder to the mat, looking towards the right. Inhaling, rising. Exhaling, right shoulder finds the mat. Inhaling, rising. Exhaling, left shoulder finds the mat. Inhaling, center. And as you exhale, releasing your hands down so that your shoulders and your elbows are lined up. Your elbows are right under your shoulders. Forearms and hands reach out in front of you into Sphinx pose. And then pressing your hands and your forearms into the mat, trying to isometrically pull your elbows back towards your hips, but they're not going anywhere. It's just that action to really pull your chest forward, grounding your hip bones into the mat. So expanding through our chest and pulling our spine nice and long. A slight tilt of your chin down might be nice. You can even roll your neck here. Really releasing. And then releasing everything to the mat. We'll bring our hands back by our hips, bringing our toes and heels to touch. You can rest your chin or your forehead or your nose onto the mat. And we're going to be rising into locust just once or I think twice. Twice sounds good. So we're going to lift our heels and our shoulders and our hands off the mat. Thinking about engaging our glutes and our hamstrings, trying to pull your heels up and backwards as you pull your collarbones and your chest forwards and upwards. So inhaling, really crunching as much as you can, not crunching through your lower back, but kind of a reverse crunch. And exhaling, releasing everything to the floor, resting your right ear onto the mat. Deep inhale. And a big exhale. And then finding your forehead back to center. We'll do that one more time with an option to go a little bit further. So starting together, we'll lift our heels, shoulders, arms off the mat. If you want, you can bend your knees and reach your hands towards the insides of your ankles. If you can grasp them, try and kick into your hands as you pull your ankles towards you. Rising your chest up, grounding your hips down, engaging your glutes and pulling your heels up towards the sky. Just 3 more breaths like this. And exhaling, releasing everything back to the mat. Left ear finds the mat. And a big inhale and exhale to release from that. Pushing your hands down and crawling all the way back to your heels, this time tucking your toes and finding a toe stand here to stretch through the bottoms of our feet. Deep inhale as you rise your hands up overhead, palms to touch, and exhale, hands to heart center. Just coming back to your intention for today. And we'll close off class today with a few light back bends. It can be really nice to open up your chest and your back in the morning. It's kind of a refreshing feeling. So pushing off of your, rising onto your shins and your knees. You can keep your toes tucked if you'd like. And then bringing your arms up and overhead. Start to push your hips forward, engaging your glutes as you lift your chest to the sky, bending your elbows into cactus pose, bringing your elbows down towards your hips as you continue pushing through your glutes and lifting your chest up, finding just a small back bend here. And then releasing back to your heels, hands to heart center. Inhaling, rising again. We'll sweep through that once more. Arms up overhead, and then cactusing your elbows out to the sides as you pull your chest up and forwards. Keeping an engagement in the glutes to protect the lower back. And then sinking back to our heels, hands to heart center. You can continue with that, or we can try and do a few circle camels. So we'll start by bringing our left hand to our left heel. And we're gonna rise up just like we did, so pushing our hips forward. This time circling your right arm back behind your head until it finds your right heel. And then when it finds your right heel, immediately lifting your left hand off your left heel And circling it back behind your head and then forwards. And as your arm comes forward, sinking your hips back towards your heels. And then we'll sweep around again. So left hand finds left heel, rising up. Right arm circles back behind you to your right heel. Left arm circles back behind you as you find that. And then it comes forward and we sink back down. This time switching, so right arm first, right hand finds right heel. Lifting up as you circle your left arm back behind you towards your left heel. Once you find that, releasing your right arm back behind you and then circling forward. So do a few rounds of that, switching this time, left arm first on left heel, circling right arm. Circling all the way back around to center. Releasing, and then right hand to right heel. Circling left arm around. Really just playing around here. My cues are awful because I'm getting really mixed up, but really just finding what feels good in your back bends. And if the circling doesn't feel good, just hold it. When you find your camel, thinking about really lifting out of your hips. You don't want to be crunching in your lower back. And then together we'll just find a neutral position. Sinking back onto our heels and bringing our butt to the ground, swinging our legs out in front of us. With a deep bend in your knees, try and connect your abdomen to your thighs and try and hold on to the bottoms of your feet. And we'll slowly start to walk our feet out to the space in front of us. Once your abdomen loses connection with your thighs, stop there and just tuck your chin towards your chest and release fully, allowing your head to reach towards your knees. With a deep bend in your spine here, going as far as you can or as feels comfortable. But the focus is really on keeping our body connected in this compression while we release through our back body. So really allowing your neck, your head to fully relax here. Taking nice deep breaths. I find a lot of tension in my back body, especially in the mornings. So working through back bends and forward folds can be really nice. Tucking your chin. And it can be quite intense sometimes, so that's where bringing your breath into the areas of tension and trying to work through it rather than just coming out of it. Trying to breathe all the tension out of your back. You can stay here as long as you'd like, or you can start to roll back towards Shavasana. If you do that, try and keep it nice and slow, maybe grabbing onto the backs of your legs and rolling yourself down vertebra by vertebra, all the way down to the mat. Head comes last, extending your legs out long, allowing your arms to fall out wide, palms up. And then slightly lifting your shoulders off the ground and rolling them back underneath your back, and then resettling back to the mat. Taking a deep cleansing breath together. So exhaling to prepare. Inhaling nice and deep. Pausing at the top. And exhaling with open mouth. Fully releasing. Letting your body melt into the floor. Taking a moment of gratitude for yourself for coming onto your mat today. And also taking a moment to just completely let go of your opinions about your practice, about your physical body. Knowing that we're each unique and individual, and our strengths and weaknesses don't always match up, and they don't have to compare. We are who we are. Just bringing an awareness to what you hope to get out of your yoga practice. Staying here for as long as you'd like, trying to find deep stillness and peace before starting your day. Thank you guys for joining me. Namaste.